The recording's in progress, so welcome to the meeting. Good to see everybody. I'm Steve Coggin. I'm the president of Mecklenberg Audubon, and thanks for being here for our January meeting. We're going to share some photographs and members Photo Share-a-thon. That's the official title, and we've got.
Can you see this okay?
Got about 10 different people that have submitted photographs tonight. And when your turn comes up, you can give a brief description of what's in the picture.
Yeah, we've heard this big business before.
We're in a new year, and maybe this one is going to be a better year than the last new year we had.
Hopefully.
I hear
about that.
We have Birds and Beans coffee, and you can order in a couple of ways. You can order from birdsandbeans.com or in person at the Backyard Bird Store.
Yep. Now I understand they don't have any in stock right at this moment. So if you're thinking of it, you can call ahead.
All right, in
Oh
April.
my God. I apologize, everyone. This is zipping by.
In April, we're hosting the Audubon North Carolina Summit. We're going to have Audubon members from all over the state come with us April 21st through 24th. And we are still taking volunteers. There's going to be a lot of work that needs doing that weekend. And please contact us if you're interested in volunteering. Last year, and Patty was one of the main people that put forth this. We had a backyard birding challenge, and the overall winner was Jeannie McCoy, who's with us tonight, and she had a whopping 119 species in her yard.
Amazing.
And she was overall number 5 in the whole state of North Carolina.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
They have quite a yard. Let's have a pond or something.
Patty, would you like to say something about this activity? I just saw you light up. Turn yourself off.
Unmute yourself. Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Yeah, I thought it was a really cool activity for everybody to do, and the numbers are just amazing what everybody saw in their yard. Delaware did this, and that's how I got the idea, the Delaware Audubon. And I talked to a couple of the people in charge, and they kind of told me how they did the whole thing. And I'm really glad we did it. And these numbers are just great.
Well, there's not only glory involved in this, there's also valuable prizes.
Valuable prizes.
Yeah, right.
And Jeannie McCoy was the leader in our group, and she resides in Mecklenburg County, or at least her yard does. And for her 119 species, she's won a bird feeder that Judy is holding up. And if you can see it, kind of sort of fades in and out. It's a semi-invisible bird feeder. But it's a hopper feeder, and that will go to Jeannie, and we'll work out a way to get that to her. Thanks, Judy. In Gaston County, Melissa Mantooth had 100 species. In Cabarrus County, Renee Kimray had 76.
Species.
We got it 30 years, we have about 50.
Okay.
Rigged up.
We only
got
30 that day. If they're not sharing.
Union County, Dennis Kent had 98. In York County, South Carolina, Gretchen Losey had 95. And Steve Cotton was an other, that's me. In others, Rowan County, and I had 72. So all the county winners, besides Jeannie, are going to get a bird house.
Emergency, the show Emergency back in the 70s.
Okay, that sounds like my brother. Matt, shut your volume off.
Yeah.
Turn my microphone off.
And then Kathy.
Sorry.
Christine, could you say something about the bird houses we have?
Yeah, so one of our other sister chapters in North Carolina sell birdhouses that they had an older gentleman create for them, and they have bluebird houses and brown-headed nuthatch houses, which have a slightly smaller entry hole. And we purchased a bunch of them as sort of a way to support them and a way to have gifts for some of the occasions that we have here. So people will have a choice of a bluebird house or a nuthatch house.
And again, we'll work out a way to get the bird houses to you. And thanks for everyone for participating. It was really fun. And I think it caused a lot of people to spend more time in their yard just looking to see what they had. And that was the whole purpose of this. So it was a fun activity that lasted a whole year.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, if you would like to join Mecklenburg Audubon, you can go to meckbirds.org and click on the word join on the homepage right above the logo. And membership is $10 for one person for a year or $15 for the whole family. Our next meeting in February, it's on February 3rd, and we'll let you know a little later whether it will be an in-person meeting or a Zoom meeting. But Julie Mullis is going to come and talk about mushrooms with us. And now Richard Pocat is going to talk about our field trip.
We got quite a few things coming up, as you can see on the calendar. Again, we're leading, kind of leaning heavy on Judy and Ron, but we also have some others. Chris Bowling is doing 3 walks in Gaston County over the next couple of months. I heard from Jeff Lemon today that the walk this Saturday, he's decided to cancel the one at Clark's Creek
Okay.
at the Prairie. And we also have, yeah, you can go ahead and go to the next page, Christine.
Okay. I'm sorry, my pause and play buttons are out of whack today.
Yeah.
Keeping you guessing, everybody.
I actually added some more for February for Ron, and we're starting to fill up the calendar even into March. But we're trying to get those messages out by the listserv on Sunday nights so that you have time. Please make sure if you've signed up that you stay in contact with the trip leader, and if something comes up and you can't go, please let them know. Really, really important. I think Ron had a couple of no-shows. We know that things do come up that you might not be able to control, but still try to be as considerate as you can. And, you know, right now this Omicron virus is apparently quite contagious. So when you're out there, let's maybe be a little extra careful.
Thank you. Now we're going to do the bird share.
We can't hear you, Steve.
Thank you, Richard. We're going to do the bird share photos now. So Judy, do you have that one queued up?
I hope so. Wait a minute before I do that. Need to let me add a little bit. Let's see. Where did it go? Wait a second, I lost it.
It's off.
What? There we go. There we go. That's what I want. I don't want to
On our own.
Okay. Try this again.
Sounds all the way down on both of them.
There we go.
No sound.
Somebody's got an echo. All right, the way this is going to work is we're going in alphabetical order from the end. And I need to look. I did not see Bud Yance. Did he come on? No, he didn't. Okay, so I'm going to actually start with, let's see, who do I have? It's Bud. If he shows up, we'll come back to him. We're going to start with Shannon. Aren't you lucky? So when you see your name, what you want to do is unmute yourself, because I can't do that. And then you can tell me to go through, you know, as when you're done talking, you know, with a slide, tell me, and I will advance it. So there's your first one, Shannon.
Awesome. And I'm glad to go first because I know there's going to be some amazing pictures on there. So I'll get my like amateur photos. Wait, all out of the way. So, so that's good. Am I unmuted? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So this picture, we started off the year, we took our camper and we went out for a month. My husband had to do some work in Texas, so we just made a trip of it. And we, on our way there, we got to New Mexico. This was Bosque del Apache National Wildlife Refuge. And it was one of the most amazing places I think I've ever been. It was just a neat little treat to go, and we spent a few days there, and it was just absolutely amazing. But this picture, it doesn't really do it justice, but I just wanted to be able to talk about it. All of those white specks are snow geese and Ross's geese, and there was thousands of these geese and then thousands of sandhill cranes, and it was just absolutely amazing. And if you want to go to the next one, you can, please. So in the morning, they would, in the evenings, like this was a sunset, the next one was a, yes. So it's not, like I said, not a very good picture, but I just wanted to, every single one of those little specks is a bird coming in, and they would just fly in by the thousands. It was insane. So the ones in the water are the sandhill cranes. And then you could get up early the next morning and you could go, and they would take off like at a certain time. I'm not sure how they coordinated it, but one person would decide and they would just, all the geese would fly at one time. And it was just phenomenal. It was just a really cool thing to see all that many birds. And they also had this 12-mile drive loop that you could drive, and it was just really cool. We had a great horned owl like right above us in the car, coyotes that were checking out the ducks and geese, and roadrunners, javelinas, bald eagles. We saw bobcat, which was amazing. So it was just, it was a really cool place. So that was Bosque del Apache. Our neighbors, when I was saying about the coyotes, they had a picture of a coyote that walked in front of their car that had caught a duck, which was sad to see, but circle of life, everyone has to eat. But yeah, it was crazy. Okay, next. One of the ladies at the office was telling me like that they also had yellow-headed blackbirds that you could see, and I hadn't seen one yet, and so I was determined. So one of the days I got up early and I got to see this guy, which was really cool because he's like our blackbird, but he has this crazy yellow head, and it was just really neat to see that there are pretty blackbirds out there, and blackbirds are pretty when the light hits them. But it was just really cool to see the yellow head on them, and it was neat. And then she also had said, so the next one, that this crystal thrasher had been seen. She had seen it the morning before, and so I got up the next day and went out early and got him, and he was just really cool. So I think I got 39 life birds on that trip. So he was one of them, and the blackbird, but it was really cool with his hooked bill. He was just, they say they're rarely seen, so it was just really cool to catch him. Then we went on, next please. We went to Joshua Tree, and this was at the visitor center, and I got out to throw something away, and I just happened to see this hummingbird, and I thought I had a black throat, and then he turned, and that's what's on the right with this beautiful purple throat, and it was just amazing. So that was the Costa. He was amazing to see. And then next, please. This guy on the right was a little juvenile barred owl that was at Wing Haven during the great backyard bird count. He was just right above in the trees taking a little snooze. And it was really cool because people were there for the backyard bird count. So it was really neat to kind of bring them over and show them this barred owl. And it was just really cool. So he was a neat little thing. And then the one on the left was a barred owl that is at Lotta Park at the beginning of April. And so what was cool about this guy is I spotted him in the tree and he was looking down, and I was like, oh, he's got his eye on something. And I looked down and there was 3 squirrels on the grass, and it was just really cool because I'm like, oh, he's looking for some lunch or dinner. And I turned away for a second and turned back, and the owl was gone and one of the squirrels was gone. And I looked down the path and the squirrel was laying on the path. And so the one on the left, I just waited because I'm like, he's going to come back for that because he must have dropped it. And so he came back for the squirrel, and that is him on the squirrel. And then the picture all the way on the right, I followed him when he picked it up into the tree that he went, and that is the squirrel. He carried it up into the tree. I just thought that was really cool, but that was taken through my binoculars. And then the little one in the middle is also through my binoculars. I was not that close to a baby owl. I don't want to upset anybody thinking I was that close to him, but he was just really cute, and he still had his fluff on him, and I just thought he was really cute. But that was also at Lotta. The one that got the owls was the end of April, and then the baby, I saw him out in May. So he was, I'm sure, from that year. And then the last slide, please. This little guy, we went at the end of the year, we went to Glacier National Park, and this was a little American Dipper, and he was just so fun to watch in the water. But the cool thing about this picture is I thought when I went back looking at my pictures, it was saying how to distinguish our, one of the things it was saying when they blink, sometimes they have a white eyelid because they're kind of a plain little bird, but he was fun watching in the water. But I happened to catch a picture when he was blinking. So that was of his eyelid when he did a blink. And I just thought that was kind of cool that I happened to catch that. So that was my little amateur video pictures.
Good, thank you.
Thanks.
That's great.
Before we get any further, because I know this is going to come up later, if I misidentified a bird, please tell me. And there's a couple in there I didn't identify at all, and I would like to know what they are so that I can put that in. I will add it to the official PowerPoint when it goes up. So my turn, and I figured since I'm in charge of this, I'm going to go first, not last as usual. But I went to Costa Rica after a year of postponement, wound up going to Costa Rica and saw some amazing birds. This one is a double striped thick-kneed, and he stands maybe about 1.5 feet high. And you can see, if you look at his legs about halfway down, you see those big thick knees. And it's just the weirdest looking bird. Pardon?
Yes, she led the.
Yeah.
Pardon? Okay, so there was actually a pair, so not too far from where this guy was standing kind of as a sentry. The female was sitting in the rocks on a nest. It was really kind of, I also really love their eyes. They kind of look really sexy on that. There obviously were hummingbirds, and of course there are gorgeous hummingbirds down there, but this is one of my favorite. This is a female, and I was at the first day, well, we saw them almost every day, but the first day I was at what they call a soda, which is really kind of a roadside cafe or restaurant that actually had this porch that went out over this ravine and looked down over this beautiful little waterfall and so forth. But they had feeders all around us. So this guy really was close to me. I mean, a couple of times, I was sitting there, you had to watch out that you didn't get run over by these guys. But she's just so unusual looking. The male is all green and iridescent and gorgeous, but she's pretty in her own right. Okay, so I do have you go to Costa Rica or you go to South America, you got to see some animals too. This is the Hoffman's two-toed sleuth. And we were tooling down the road in our van, and somebody yelled out sloth. Driver slammed on the brakes, came, backed up, and he literally was about 12 feet from us in the air. And actually, I move a lot faster than I thought, because he was not happy when we all piled out of the van and tried to take pictures of him. But you can even see him eating in there. I didn't get a picture of his feet, unfortunately, but I did get the mouth, but he was really close. He was amazing in it, but he did amble off pretty quickly. Oh, another one of my favorite birds at the Soda was this emerald Tuconet. And I have tons of pictures of this bird. They would come in, besides the hummingbird feeders, they would have out bananas and melons and all kinds of other fruit. And of course, he was just having a grand time eating the fruit from these trays. Now you're all saying, oh, a red pileated woodpecker. Well, no, this is its cousin, a pale-billed. And I like, Shannon was talking about the third eyelid on the dipper. And you can see I have video of him actually doing this too. He's actually excavating his hole. And you can actually see the eyes that when he's pounding, he actually closes his eyes so he doesn't get anything in there. But he's actually not in the same family as our red pileated. And when I put this picture up on on Flickr, the next thing I know, I had all these requests from this group and I forget the name of the family of woodpeckers, these guys, but there's a whole group of photographers who just take pictures of this group of woodpeckers. And they said, would you please put yours up, blah, blah, blah. It was really it was really weird, actually, if I think about it. Another set of birds that was at the feeder at the Soto is this prong-billed barbet, male and a female. They're just fascinating birds, and I just really think they're cool. Again, if you're in South America or Central America, you have to have sea frogs, and this was the quintessential picture of a red tree frog. The last day I was there, they took us to what they call the frog haven, and this is actually a poisonous frog, and the guy there took 15 acres of farmland and basically restored it to jungle. And he has all these different frogs in there. And we had a number of them. He said he can catch the frogs, and as long as he doesn't put his, get the mucus on there, as long as the mucus doesn't get in your mouth or in one of, into your mouth, we'll just say that. It's not a problem. So he'll pick them up, and of course you'll see him wash his hands immediately and so forth. But this guy was one of the posts for us so nicely. Another bird from the Soda was the red-legged honey creeper. And I just thought this was a really cool picture, and I got him actually in flight, and you can see the red legs and the yellow under the wings and so forth. The female is all green, but she's still pretty. So most people go to Costa Rica to see this guy. This is a resplendent quetzal or quetzal, and this is an immature. We did see some adults as well, but this, I was with a friend before our group got together, and he took me up into these, I have no idea where we were, but he knew about this nest. And we were able to see this juvenile, and even the juveniles are just spectacular to look at. It took us 2.5 days to find the adults in the elsewhere on our trip. So I was really, at one point I was thinking this might have been the only one I saw, but we did see more. Again, hummingbirds. This is a Rufus-tailed hummingbird. Not a spectacular looking bird, but you can't miss it. This nest was at a resort next to the I don't want to say the office, I guess, right up against in the shrubs right up and next to the office. And people going by all the time. These guys just didn't seem to have a problem at all. I would take a guess in another day or so, they would have been out of the nest because they were pretty big and about ready to go. But you just couldn't not take pictures of them. I mean, they were just so sweet. Tanagers abound in the tropics. And this is the silver-throated. This is just one of many that we saw. And probably one of the brighter ones that we had. And again, eating at the feeders. This is the last picture. Cayman is one that you want to see. I kind of debated about putting this in because it's so, I don't want to say violent, but this is a cayman eating an iguana. We had I have some other pictures of just the eyes and everything in there, but I just thought this was really, when we saw this, we just couldn't believe, because that iguana is not a small iguana, but he managed to get him and was pulling it up onto the bank and was getting ready to have it for a couple of days meal. All right, next is Jeff. Are you there?
Thanks, Judy. Great pictures from Costa Rica.
Yeah. We'll get some great ones when we go to Panama too.
Oh, yeah, you will.
Jeff, are you there?
Hello, everybody.
Hi, good.
Hello.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
There is one of yours that I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, that's part of the point.
Okay.
So I figured everyone would have really good pictures of fancy birds.
Yeah.
And I wanted one to ground everybody. And there's a Virginia rail in the center of this picture.
Oh my God.
And
I
thought
didn't
it
even
was
see that.
a classic look of how we usually see birds, which is like a distant speck.
That is good. That little speck in there, huh?
Yeah.
You
Believe
can
it or
see
not,
right there.
maybe
Right there.
not, but
Not. Ready?
you can
Next.
go to the next one.
Oh,
Went to the coast in the end of the year and got a life bird snow bunting that was really cooperative. And he was just posing for me.
Was this at the banks?
Yes, on the jetty, P Island jetty.
Cool.
You go to the next one. And then we bought a house this year and moved, but the night before we moved, the great horned owls mated in the backyard. So it was really fun to see and hear. There was one that came in, showed up like last January, and he was alone all year. And then about October or so, another one finally showed up, and they mated in December.
Where is this?
It's in Strawberry Hill.
That's what I thought.
So
Yeah,
there's
there are
barred owls
two-
and great horns.
there
But
are
I like
two
the great horns more.
Great horns? Wow, that's a really interesting place for them. They're hard to find in the county, really hard to find in the county.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll have a good winter.
Yeah.
You can go to the next one. This was on the Christmas bird count. I don't remember which parking lot, but there was somewhere in the northern part of the county. Black vultures eating at sweet frog. Sorry, it's still loading on my end.
Is that Cooper drinking water in the background? In our new house?
Yours isn't showing up?
yeah,
No,
mine's
what is
still
yours?
loading also.
What?
Mine's still loading also.
Really?
Sometimes it just sits.
That's not good. Let me go back.
We'll give it a second.
Are the vultures up there?
Black vultures.
Yes.
Try again.
There you
Okay.
go.
Okay.
And then my wife and I went to Hawaii this summer. And there are some really cool birds there. There was an Inca tern that showed up and was hanging around for months. So that was awesome to see. But this is the white tern that nests in the trees. And they don't make a nest, they just lay their eggs on the branches. So it was really cool to see them.
Cool.
And then this is on Kauai. There's a Kauai amakihi. And really excited to see this one, but he was really cooperative and really pretty.
Is that the right? Did I get that right?
It looks like the Hawaii, but it's the Kauai amakihi.
Kauai. Okay. I'll change that. I was amazed I got that close.
Yeah. And then these are the birds that my wife said, these are really cool. I like birding. And they're chuckers. And there's a pair of adults and a bunch of little babies. So everyone got interested.
Where was that?
This is on the big island of Hawaii, Mauna Loa Observatory, I think it was.
Cool.
And then this is the MAS trip to Hendersonville, Jackson Park. And there's a Canada warbler. We saw several Canadas that day, but this one was pretty cooperative for photos. Went up to the mountains and saw red-breasted nuthatch late fall, probably. And I went up there for red crossbills because I'd never seen one before. And they were just eating the gravel in the parking lot. So they were pretty awesomely cooperative.
Okay, which one?
Real close.
Oh, red. This is a red crossbill, huh?
Yeah.
If you know, I don't know if you can tell here. Can you see my arrow?
Yes.
Okay. See this piece, these things here? This is feather sheaths. And these are new feathers coming in. And that, I was just surprised. Must be a young bird. And he's coming into his breeding plume, a breeding plumage, because all this little sheath, there's blood in it, and the feather grows out, and then eventually the sheath comes off, and you have the blood supply to the feather stops, and then you have the dead feather. But I was just, that's a really cool picture to get that those sheaths in there. Didn't mean to. And obviously that's what I thought it was, but I wasn't going to.
Excuse me, but
Yeah.
what parking lot where?
I don't remember right now, but it was one of the parking lots on the border of Tennessee on the Appalachian Trail, which doesn't really narrow it down, but it can give you a general idea.
And what time of the year was it?
I think it was in the fall.
Yeah, it would make sense if this is a juvenile. It's a cool bird.
Mm.
And
This is back at the coast. Had a really cooperative sedge wren. So posing for photos, which they don't usually do.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Cooperative sedge wren. They are hard to see.
All right. All right. Betty, are you ready? Betty, there you are. No, that was Jeff.
I'm
Thank you,
ready.
Jeff.
Go ahead.
Okay, Betty, you ready?
I'm ready.
All
This
right.
is so hard to do. What a great exercise. I had to
Yes.
go through hundreds of pictures. How do you choose the best ones?
Oh, and you might not see everything you thought you were going to see, because I'm not sure I got everything in there, but go ahead.
Okay, that's fine.
Judy,
This was
Betty's
actually a
pictures are
good
not loaded.
exercise for me.
It's
for
not
figuring
loaded
out-
yet?
No. There you go.
It's coming. Okay. Anyway, like Jeff, I also went to Hawaii in the Pacific Northwest, but I didn't include any pictures from there. Most of these pictures are either in my yard or Freedom Park. So I just stayed local with the ones I chose. As I said, I don't know how, if anybody has advice about how to recognize your best pictures during the year so you don't do it all at the end. I'd love to hear from it. But anyway, here we go. This is a brown-headed nuthatch in Freedom Park. He was at eye level, and he was actually building this nest in this hole the whole time. And I shot like 100 pictures, and I was just like standing 4 feet away from him. So that was pretty cool to see him go actually in the hole and come back out with everything. Judy, you can move. Thank you. Oh, good. You got the Orioles all in one thing. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fun thing about the Orioles that we didn't talk about before was they liked the boxwoods under my office window, and I can see the boxwoods vibrating, and then because they come through the bushes, and then they like to pop up, look around, and then they jump up onto the feeder. So they love places that have bushes where they can kind of go into the bushes and then pop out. But this is the male, the orange, and it's the female that's the lighter yellow. And they're there a lot. Judy, you can move again. It's been fun to see them.
Oh, it's sitting.
It's sitting.
All right. I had a
All right.
female this morning. I moved my feeders around and put a hummingbird feeder back out. And I didn't get it out quite early enough this morning. So I had one of the females sitting up on top of the feeder chattering at me. I hadn't gotten out there in time.
Was that a,
This
you
is-
have a hummingbird as well?
No, a friend suggested that I put out a feeder. I might see one.
Yeah.
Because usually what I've done the last 2 years is change out my hummingbird feeder and put out the grape jelly feeder. And about the timing seems to work well, but I must see, I only put it out on Tuesday, so we'll see if I get anything with hummingbirds. This is a red-shouldered hawk. I see hawks in the Freedom Park quite often. I just particularly like this photograph. Judy, if you want to move again.
Oops. Oh, did I miss one?
Yeah.
There we go.
I had lives like Stephen Jenkins. I also had a barred owl family in my backyard this year. And so we had 3 owlets. But these were I knew he was going to have some phenomenal pictures. So these were the 2 that I particularly liked. Because I just walked out of the house and I happened to have my camera with me for the picture on the left, and the bird just sat there so nicely and posed.
Sorry.
It's all right. And the other 2 are siblings, I believe. They were together. You can move to the next picture.
Oops, wrong. All right. Not paying attention.
It's okay. Some of you will recognize this one. This is the McAlpine Creek Park resident great blue heron. You know, the one that just has 1 leg basically, or 1 foot. And I just like this photograph because the reflection of the sky and the water was just completely so still. But a lot of you know this bird. Judy, you can move along. Thank you. It's a red-tailed hawk. I saw this in the park also, and it was interesting. It was banded, but I don't know enough about why, what the banding signified, but it was beautiful. Let me take these great pictures.
It could be that it was injured and it's a Raptor Center band.
Could be.
Or it was, came in as a young and they raised it and let it go. There's no, but it probably was a Raptor Center band.
It was happy to see me anyway. It let me sit there and take lots of pictures, which is great. This is my all-time favorite last year. It's just this little wren that is just like standing at attention, and you can just see the side of the wren's face, and it looks like it's looking out into the world and the future, and it's all kind of hazy, but it's really nice and sharp, and I really like this photograph. So
very cute.
I think that should be all of them, right?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
no.
Oh, there was another one. Okay. This is also McAlpine Creek Park. And I just like this photograph because of the way the light picked up on the mallard. Do we have any?
So where, I'm sorry, where were you, where's your yard where you have the Orioles?
On the Dilworth side of Freedom Park.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Well, my objective this year was to try and catch the Cardinals doing this maneuver during courting. I thought that was my goal, is I'm going to catch the Cardinals in action. And I managed to do that on the feeder in front of my garage. So
Really
I caught them. Yes. My Downy Woodpecker. This one I actually took last week, and I really like it because the Downy is a nice and focus in the middle, and the outside perimeter is all out of focus. So I like the way that came out. This was taken in Freedom Park.
Hey, Richard. Are you there, Richard?
I'm here.
Good. Okay, here goes.
Slow loader. We didn't do traveling for birds this year, but we did travel in November just before Omicron to Sicily, but I don't have any pictures from Sicily. Everything's from either Chantilly or from McAlpine Creek Park, our two favorite go-to places. So you're going to recognize all the species, I think, if it'll load.
Oh, it didn't load yet. Let's try that again.
Oh yeah, this is that American bittern that was sitting in that marshy area over at Chantilly for quite a few months last year. This was, I think it was in February, we went over there one late afternoon and it was caught some really nice late afternoon sun on it. And I thought the green legs in that grass was kind of cool looking.
Yeah.
This was at McAlpine, and these black vultures were down really low on the path on the other side of the creek from the main part of the park. At McAlpine also, a lot like Betty, we found a hole, Anne found a hole in a tree that was down near tree level, near eye level. It was close to the parking lot. And the nuthatch seemed very unaware that we were there. Again, McAlpine Creek Park, late afternoon, had some nice sun, some flying geese, not much light. This was at a very high ISO. Steve was asking about topaz denoise, and I was able to use that on this. Steve, this was ISO 18,000.
Oh, wow.
This is Carolina Wren at McAlpine Creek Park. Ann and I were over there on the little path that's next to the beaver pond, and the wrens were going back and forth from one side of the path to the other carrying nesting material. Again, McAlpine Creek Park. I thought the cool little butch haircut on this chipping sparrow was cute.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It almost throws you off on the ID because you don't see them that way very often.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a breezy day, I think. The eastern kingbird was, they were nesting in the pine tree next to the pond over at Chantilly this year.
Nice.
This was late afternoon. There's a little path off the path through the woods on the backside of the beaver pond at McAlpine. And I always like to go back up in there because I frequently see interesting things. And this great blue heron was just standing there posing, and I thought the light in the background was really pretty too. So I think I got this picture in August over at McAlpine. I went over there one hot afternoon, and this was a pretty friendly bird. I was pretty close to it. I had to crop it a little bit because there was fishing line across the front. I really hate seeing that fishing line. I guess that's how that great blue heron lost its foot.
It's interesting to actually see the green on the back. You don't always pick that up when you see it.
Well, that's one of the things I really like about photography is it helps you to see the colors and the details in these that, you know, even with the binoculars and a moving subject, you can't see because you could sit and study the still image. Slow loader. Oh yeah. Indigo bunting. This was at Chantilly in, I think, late May, early June. Bright sunshine day. You can see all the sun reflecting off of its chest and doing what it does best. This is my favorite picture of a cardinal that I think I've ever gotten. I find those red birds really hard to get all the details of color that you see. When most of the time when I get pictures of cardinals, it's just red, just all red. And I love seeing that little bit of variation with those little hues of blue and things like that. This was at Chantilly, out in the field, kind of back near where the marsh is. McAlpine Creek Park. This guy was a poser. Ann found him in a tree, and I was able to get pictures of him from all the way around, like 360 degrees. I just went around and shot different angles, but I liked this one because I was able to get a nice sun on the back. It was late afternoon. Good profile.
All right, thank you. We appreciate that red-shouldered hawk is got to be between that and the great blue heron out over at McAlpine, probably the most photographed birds around. Because I know Steve Jenkins loves that red-shouldered hawk over there. You'll see it again. Okay, Jeannie, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. There he is, the infamous bird that got you into this mess.
That's exactly right. He is my quintessential spark bird. The first time I heard that phrase, I thought, that's exactly what he is. So I gifted myself a bird feeding station, my first, in April of 2020. And I planted it right outside my living room window where I could see it every day while I cared for my infant grandson. And I quickly became obsessed trying to identify just my backyard birds that came to the feeder. With the apps that I had on my telephone, I downloaded on my phone, and this guy showed up in December of that year. And I had a sleepless night because I couldn't identify him. In fact, Judy, if you'll go to the next picture, I only have two. This is what he looked like when he came. And I sent the picture to my husband. This is not the photo I took, by the way. I took a photo with my iPhone through a dirty screened window. And one of the apps had a photo ID, and it came back as a Bullock's Oriole. And I knew that had to be wrong and that I had to have done something wrong because Audubon map said they don't live here. I sent the photo to my husband, who sent it to a luthier friend of his in Virginia, who also happens to be a birder. He sent it to Taylor Pyfoff here, and Taylor came to the house, I guess a couple of mornings after I'd first seen him, to positively identify him as a juvenile male Bullock's Oriole. And he said, you know, he's not the first one who's been in the area, but there may be a few people who would like to see him. Would you mind if some people contacted you and showed up to see him? And my husband and I said, no, not at all. And so I became as curious about you all as I was about this new backyard bird. So anytime somebody contacted me about wanting to come see the Bullock's Oriole, I had to run outside when you got here to meet you and greet you and find out as much as I could about birding and what it was that that brought you to see him. And what you all did was you taught me that I could see birds from my own yard that I might not be able to see from my living room. So the first person who showed up was Patty Maston. She became my first birding friend. She introduced me to a pileated woodpecker. And John Scavetto introduced me to a brown creeper. When Malia came, she introduced me to the purple finch and the red-breasted nuthatch. And when Janet came and birded my yard with me in the spring, she could hear and identify a great crested flycatcher, and she helped me identify a magnolia warbler, my first magnolia warbler. And that's how my obsession from just trying to identify the birds that would come to the feeder turned into an obsession to see as many birds as I possibly could in my own yard or from my own yard and identify them.
And how many people came to visit your world?
Well, you know, I'm kind of obsessive. And so I not only kept track of every time I saw, this is Lucky. I named him Lucky. My husband named him Elvis. Sometimes I refer to him as Lucky Elvis. but I not only jot down every time I see him on my another calendar, I also kept everybody's number in my phone and listed them as a birder. So it would be Judy birder, or Patty Maston birder, so that I could pull them all up when I searched. And there are about 60 people who have come, and they've brought friends sometimes. So about 60. So Patty said, look, if you want to get a good picture of him, get outside and get one now. That was in February of 2020. No, 2021, because he came in December of 2020. She said, get out now and get a good picture because he's not going to stay. He is going to leave. And so I did. I staked out my yard like you all taught me. I staked out my yard, and one cold February day, I got this photo, of which I'm very proud. I'm so proud of the bird, and I'm so proud of this one photograph. I take lots of photographs, and they're terrible, and they only help me identify the birds that I see. But it was like he graced me with a picture I could remember him by. Well, the last time I saw him in the spring was March the 25th. And I cried when he left. And then November the 1st of last year, I started to put out my oranges again with jelly, because I started to hear that people were seeing Baltimore Orioles in their yard. And I thought, well, what the hell, he might come back. And November the 11th of last year, he came back. And a few people have come to see him. And I'm still obsessively writing down every single time that I see him. And it's several times a day. Needless to say, he got me off the couch, out of the house, introduced me to an amazing world of birds that I only vaguely was aware of, and has immensely enriched my life. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm
Beautiful.
going to come out soon, see him again for this
I
year.
haven't seen him yet. I'm going to get there.
Please do. You all are so welcome. Thank you.
Great story, Jeannie. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Christine.
All right. I can't top that story.
No, and
You should write a little.
we're running a little late, so make sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go faster after this.
Yes.
Some of you saw this when we did our Arizona trip report for one of our meetings. This was a life bird for me. This is a varied bunting in Arizona. Great looks at him. This is a yellow-eyed junco, also from our Arizona trip. I just love that pose on that guy. We saw quite a few of those on that trip. Oh, slow load. Vermilion flycatcher. This is a female. We saw quite a few of them. It's one of my favorite birds. I haven't seen it in a long time. I've only been out west a couple of times. So this is also from Arizona. We were later on in the summer, so the males were not as bright as they can be. But we did see whole families. So this particular one, I saw the male and the female and 3 young fledglings all together near the airport hotel at the end of the trip. And I thought she was stunning in her own right. I love that subtle coral color underneath and her streakiness and the blurred out background. So I just like this shot. Black-throated sparrow was another superstar of our Arizona trip. I love the little feather that kind of got caught in the cactus behind it, and seeing all the close variations on the feathering. Black bear. So Natural Selections, who we used for the Arizona trip, the owner there is also setting up some trips out in the inner banks, just inside before you cross over to the outer banks by Mattamuskeet. They set up an alleyway, a safe passageway for bears, and a safe viewing area where the bears have gotten comfortable with people. And I was really surprised. We went 2 times, sort of just pre-sunset, and we saw all bears, young bears, this big male bear. We probably saw 15 different bears each day over the course of just a couple of hours. It was constant activity, watching them feed and cross through and play. So if anybody wants to know more about that, I can tell you about that, but it was a lot of fun. Next. So besides Arizona, I also did a trip to Oregon. I had been out to Washington State, but I had never been to Oregon. So we were not on the shore, we were in the Cascades, a little bit inland and up and down the Cascades. And Steller's jay, I've always loved this bird. I've seen it a few times, but never this close. And there was an area where they actually came and fed out of your hand. So it allowed for some good close-ups, and they just have really cool patterning and vivid blue. So it's one of my favorite shots. Fox sparrow. So this is another Oregon specialty. There's a few subspecies, and this one is particular to the Cascade area. And I love that it just looks so different from our fox sparrow.
All right.
Now, Shannon talked about hard dipper. I had seen them very briefly before, but never like this. In Oregon, they were sort of a constant companion on all our trips. We were there in early September. So this is a video montage, but with the speed issues we've been having, I'm not sure how much you'll make out, but I will try to walk you through it. We hope it will go. So this, I'm not sure if you can hear it that well, but they had a really cool call. They were very sing-songy and almost mimicky like. They had a really neat song. And this particular guy always liked to lift his foot up. This was in the cabin behind our place in Subtle Lake, so we saw it there every day. This is some good pictures of the eyelid that Shannon mentioned. It's not it kicked back, Judy.
Kicked back, I know.
It's not a nictitating membrane for protecting the eye like most birds have. It actually is an eyelid that's white. It's like a feather. And I don't think they figured out why. It might have something to do with the aquatic. This is North America's only aquatic songbird. But I think the details are still out on exactly this amazing, unique feature that the bird has. So upcoming, I also have some of the water acrobatics of the bird. Unfortunately, it's clear on my version, but it's not coming through here. But it would dip its head in really strong currents. And to do this fishing, it was really quite amazing how it hopped around from rock to rock and went into certain areas, constantly looking for little invertebrates and midges, little aquatic insects. Okay, so this is the bird actually swimming. You could see it dive in and come out. I'm sorry, it didn't quite, again. The water was clear and we were on a bridge overlooking it. So we really had great views of it. And it actually started tossing rocks to look for things underneath, which I thought was really neat too. Some of the rocks are decent size for this little bird. So, you know, this was probably my favorite thing about Oregon, was this experience of really getting to see one bird doing a lot of things and really being able to observe the behavior. As Shannon also mentioned, you know, not the hottest looking bird, you know, it's not going to catch your eye, but the behavior is really, really cool. So that's one of my favorite new birds now. That's it for me.
Okay, John, are you still there?
I am here.
Good. All right, ready?
Yes. So we were on a road trip and decided to go out early, shortly after sunrise. I was shooting this red-winged blackbird in the treetop, and all of a sudden it took off and got a really neat capture here. Most people like this. Slow load. This was Elk City, Oklahoma. Oh, not this one. We missed one. Judy, can you go back?
Where are we?
Well, there was a scissor-tail flycatcher.
Oh, that's next. It's in there.
Oh, okay, different order.
I
Okay.
just didn't get it. It
So,
didn't go in the right way.
These are two sandhill cranes that were handing out in an area near Middleton, Wisconsin called Pheasant Branch Conservancy. And they were pretty noisy. There were lots of them in this area, pretty easy to see in September, apparently. And I'm just going to play a little sound off of Abrid. I didn't record this, but this noise.
Oh, yeah.
We got to hear that every morning where we were staying about a mile from this place.
Mhm.
And so we went out early one morning to photograph them and had plenty of luck.
There's your,
Yep, loading slow.
yeah. Is it up yet?
Nope.
No, waiting for a slow load right here.
How's that?
And a scissor-tail flycatcher that was in the same park in Elk City, Oklahoma, as the red-winged blackbird. Just something to do in the morning before we hit the road for a long day's drive.
Cool. They are neat birds. Okay, thanks, John. Okay, John Hannah, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's see what you got.
All right, well,
Okay.
I'm gonna let the pictures speak for themselves, but let me preface it by saying, in June, Chris and I took a 2-week car trip out to the potholes region of North Dakota. And we logged in 206 species, 9 of which were lifers. I did not get pictures of all the lifers, but I did send you some of the better pictures of birds that we don't normally see.
Mhm. Ready?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll let them speak for themselves.
those are the, now you gotta say a little bit. There's your avocet.
American avocet. In the potholes regions of North Dakota, there's a lot of fields, prairies, and just potholes of water everywhere you go.
Okay, is the longbill curlew up?
Yep, longboard.
You don't think of this bird as being out in the middle of the prairie.
Grassland, yeah.
Dickcissels were abundant in the fields along the fence lines. Scissor-tail flycatcher overhead. We didn't see many of those, so.
That's a little far north for them. I'm surprised you saw any.
It might not have been in North Dakota, could have been on our way out.
Okay.
Marbled godwit was definitely out in North Dakota.
Another bird you don't think of being out in the prairie.
Yeah. Eargoose breed out there, beautiful bird.
Isn't it amazing how different they look when they're in breeding plumage?
I was
Right.
gonna say, anybody going on the Huntington Beach trip this weekend will see hopefully we'll see these, but they won't look anything like that.
It's very dramatic, the change.
It's slow.
Yeah, I don't see it. There you go.
Western grebes were abundant. Clark's grebes were seeing some, but I think we only saw one Clark's. Most of them were Western grebes, a lot of chicks. I didn't get the chicks, but this is a striking bird. Chestnut collared longspur was a lifer for us. And they were abundant also along the fence lines. Western meadowlark, quite a few of those in the fields.
Yeah, I didn't put in, I wasn't sure whether it was a Western or Eastern.
Yeah, I understand. We
Without
did see
hearing
both.
it, without hearing it, I can't tell.
Right.
Did I get this one right?
Common nighthawk, that's correct. Yeah, we puzzled over this for a while, but it was definitely an adult common nighthawk in the daylight.
Sound asleep.
Look
Yep.
at that camouflage. It was like the exact color of that the tree was in.
Lark sparrow was a rare one for us, but not new, but a good, we got very good looks at it. And Nelson, no, is that LeConte? Okay. I'm not
I
sure.
think it's a LeConte.
I think I had it listed as Nelson's, but you.
Well, I was back and forth between them. What do you think, Jeff? Jeff Lemons, are you still there?
Yeah, I'd like to see the front of it.
I know.
That's all you get.
All you get.
Yeah, I'm not calling it from that.
Yeah.
It's one of the two.
Yeah, it is. We had it listed as Nelson's sharp tail.
Mhm. Well, it's not a sharp tail anymore, but the Nelsons. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Steve. Steve Jenkins. Are you there? Tell me Steve left. Unmute yourself, Steve.
He's waving.
There he is.
Oh, we still can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Steve. That might be a good thing.
He heard you.
I'm sure he did.
Uh-oh, we might have to speak for you.
Are you?
All right, he's going to give sign language. This is the kestrel from Chantilly.
Yes, his favorite. This is the one that on our trip, it was actually chasing a Cooper's hawk because it was not happy with the Cooper's hawk there. Hopefully it'll breed in the area.
I know we did get it on the Christmas bird count, so it's been around.
Okay, really nice shot of a black vulture. I'm not sure where it is. I can't believe he sound is off.
Very cool. Look at the expression on his face.
The
long toes.
Yeah, the real long toes and the it
almost looks like a crow head on that angle.
Yeah. This is one of the I'm pretty sure this is one of the red shoulders over at yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, I just wanted to say one thing up front.
Mm-hmm.
I have not had an opportunity to do any long distance traveling for almost 2 years now. And I've contented myself with getting out in nature in the local area. And it's sort of been my salvation, as has been the friendship and teaching and eyes of the Mecklenberg Audubon folks that I've been with. It's really enhanced my experiences tremendously. This guy was a Cooper's hawk with attitude at Caldwell Station Creek Greenway.
I got to change that. I don't know why I put red shoulder in there. Sorry.
Yeah, the images that I'm showing you all are local. Most of them are on MAS walks, and they're basically within the last month.
Sorry about the misidentification.
No problem. I was, you'll like this story. My go-to place for bald eagles has become Riverbend Park in Catawba County along the Catawba River. And I was up there on Tuesday looking for bald eagles, and I found them, as I have every time I've gone there. I had a new toy to play with. It was 24 degrees when I got there in the early morning, and I had remembered everything except for my fleece jacket.
Jeez.
So this is a great blue heron shot across the Catawba River from the little viewing platform there.
That's his tongue sticking out, right?
It's got its tongue sticking out. Yes.
All right.
This is a fox sparrow from our trip on December 4th to McDowell Prairie, led by Ron.
This is the typical coloration of fox sparrows that we get here in the.
By the way, the American Dipper, when I was out west as a teenager, there were water ouzels. Is that the same thing? Same bird?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
These birds were amazing. This was from 4 Mile Creek Greenway on November 30th with Ron. There were 2 male golden crowned kinglets that were just going after each other, and obviously we were very excited. They were very close to us, and they just kept flitting around in the same area, giving us really great opportunities to photograph them.
And see the orange crown, which you never see, or
Yeah,
golden
it
crown.
was very cool.
Yeah, the orange inset surrounded by the yellow. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Really,
These are two different birds.
very cool.
Judy, this is from Chantilly.
Mhm.
When was this one? This was on December 14th. We came across 2 pairs of hooded mergansers, and these are a couple of shots of either one or both of the male hooded mergansers that day. They were in the past. They've been quite skittish for me, and these 4 were pretty cool. As was this guy. This is a red-shouldered hawk. The red-shouldered, Judy had mentioned the red-shouldered hawks at McAlpine. I have found that actually the most nonchalant ones are 4 Mile Creek Greenway. This guy was just sitting on a branch over the walkway there, bunch of people around there. You know, typical me, I was staying there trying to get flying pictures of him, but he was totally not interested in flying.
Well, look, he gave you that awesome pose where you could read all the feathers.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was just doing his routine. This one back also Chantilly. This is when I sort of parted ways with the group and did my usual, okay, are you going to fly for me routine? And this one also, he flew between a couple of branches in the tree. Then actually a second red-tailed hawk, a larger and more mature bird, came by and perched next to this guy briefly. And then I sent them both off to Judy and the rest of the team in the parking lot.
I was going to ask that, Judy, this picture and the other one where it's a little fluffier at the base and they just seem more pure white. Is that a juvenile feature that they're this white?
No, I mean, that's just
happen in an adult.
It can happen, and the fluffiness is you're just not used to seeing that.
Right.
They do, their legs are really very fine feathers and stuff like that. And their undertail is often it's very soft and it's much almost like microfilaments under there. They're really downy almost. And that's, you know, I guess it keeps them warm. I don't know. But yeah, that's not that unusual. It's just that we don't see that when we're looking through binoculars as much.
Right.
This guy was a big time cooperator. This is also 4 Mile Creek. This is from November 30th with Ron. And actually that day we saw 3 winter wrens. I must applaud Judy also on one of our recent walks at McAlpine Creek Park. She stopped in front of a sort of nondescript jumble of vegetation, whipped out her cell phone, played a little song, and the winter wren appeared right on cue.
You're not supposed to tell him that.
But it was just her mere presence. It had nothing to do with her cell phone. And these are from Tuesday as well. There's a pair of bald eagles that this is also Riverbend Park. They nest close. I think they actually nest off of Lake Hickory, very close to the dam there. And on Tuesday, they were busy transporting nesting material and eating a little bit in between. I've had 100% of the time that I've gone to this place, I have seen bald eagles. I also saw, in addition to these 2 adults, at least 1 juvenile on Tuesday. And one time when I went there, there were 4 or 5 ospreys fishing for hours right in front of me.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Sorry about the voice problem.
Oh, that's not a problem.
But it probably was
Okay.
good. It probably was good.
Yeah. The last but not least, our fearless leader, Steve Coggin. Are you there?
I'm here.
Unless we went to sleep. Okay, ready?
This American white pelican was at the dam at High Rock in Rowan County. And we were out there this weekend looking for them. They're not there yet, but they should show up in the middle of the month and stay until March or so. We've had up to 70 pelicans out there. So if you want to see some pelicans, that's a good spot for them. Next, please.
Road trip.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should do a road trip for us. Field
Yeah,
trip,
we can do
field
it.
trip, field trip, field trip.
This little male blue-winged teal was sleeping on the water. And this was from probably Green Cay wetlands in Palm Beach County, Florida. Like all these pictures are either from Florida or from around here.
I love that speckling. It's almost like a cheetah in the front there, like a.
It's beautiful, all the details there. Okay, these bridal terns were number 1,000 on my life list. And
Yay,
took the
yay.
ferry out to the Dry Tortugas from Key West and found these guys sitting out there at one of the old coaling station docks, and they were nodding to me.
They look like they're bowing to you, is what they look like they're doing.
I don't think they're bowing. Okay, next. This picture was inspired by Patty. She posted a really nice picture of a creeper. I said, I got to go out and get a picture of a creeper. Patty's got a really good one. Last winter, I went out on a cold day, put the lawn chair in the yard, and waited until this guy came up the maple tree, and there he was.
Yay, they're sweet. I've seen more this year than I have in past years.
Yeah, we've had a couple already in the yard, so that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's unusual.
I saw 3 this week, so I agree. I think there are a lot more around than there were.
Yeah, I mean, we can go some winters and not see them at all.
This was taken at the Catawba College Ecological Reserve, and we don't get osprey and eagles there all the time, but the osprey was there, and the osprey had a fish, and the young eagle came after it, and they soared around for about 15 minutes, and they finally went out of sight, and the osprey had never lost the fish, at least when it was inside of me, so I was kind of hoping the osprey was going to get to keep his meal. Okay, next. Let's see, this is back in Florida again. And there's a park we can go to where we can always find loggerhead shrikes. And so it's always a pleasure to find those guys. So they've gotten really rare around here. Okay, next. This little rough-winged swallow was sitting on a branch and looked over his shoulder when I came up. And shortly after this, he took off, but it was a nice moment.
It is a brief moment, right? I don't think I've ever seen one.
Very brief.
Great.
Okay, next. Another osprey. This was also at High Rock Dam, and this one also had a fish, and he was looking at me like I was trying to get that fish and unhappy. He was stuck. Oh, this is the scissor tail.
Wait a minute, no, there's one, there we go.
No, I think there's a scissor tail flycatcher in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's next. Just
Okay.
What do you got in front of you now?
It's a palm warbler.
Okay.
And this was down in Florida too. There's a lot of them hanging around in the winter. See a little bit of red on the head and the yellow undertail coverts. And the only thing you can't see is him wagging his tail, but he was doing that too.
Here's your scissor tip.
And this is at the airport in, where is it, Rock Hill? They were there last spring, so that was a very nice sighting. We'd gone to visit some outcrops, Granite Rock outcrops in South Carolina, and decided to swing by and see if we could find the flycatcher, and there it was.
Cool.
And the top blackbird there was a lifebird down in Florida, in western Palm Beach County, almost to Lake Okeechobee. It's a shiny cowbird with a whole bunch of brown-headed cowbirds too.
It's interesting, when I put this in, I saw the brown-headed cowbirds, and I had brown-headed cowbirds, and later when I was going back over, and I said, hey, wait a minute, what is this other bird? I thought, it's a shiny. So it's
It
kind of
was
cool.
shiny too.
Yeah, it looks really shiny.
And these were wood storks that had just made it at Wackatahatchee Wetlands in Palm Beach County, Florida, and they were kind of still embracing after they were finished.
Yeah, it looks like there's home around her. That's nice.
Yeah.
Sweet. That is sweet. And I think that's it. Yep,
Yeah, good. Thank
that
you.
is it. I will stop. There you go. Oh, we still have people there. You guys all hung in there. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Well, I always like this meeting to look at everybody's pictures because they're so good and inspiring and exciting. And makes me want to get out and take more pictures. So,
Yeah, me too.
thanks, everyone.
Anybody has any, well, wait a second. Anybody have any questions of their folks? You can, unmute yourself. I don't see anything. I
Oh,
will.
it was spectacular, that's all.
It-
Just
Thank
loved
you.
it.
All right. Then we will hopefully see you on the trail or next month somewhere, either
Yep.
virtually or not.
Mushrooms. The
If you
mushroom.
know anyone that wasn't able to join us tonight, this is going to be, the link to this will be posted on the website soon, right, Judy?
Mhm.
So
Probably.
they can
I don't know.
experience this
See you,
non-synchronous.
everyone.
Okay.
Take
And
care.
I was gonna
Bye.
say, I wanted to say in the beginning, I got a lifer today in Mecklenburg County, a rusty blackbird on
Hey,
Janet
right.
Palmer's walk. And I was so excited
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
that I've probably seen
Chantilly?
them before and didn't really, yes, but I don't think I realized it was a rusty but the sun was shining on him and it was so pretty. But I was like, that was fun. That was unexpected to
Good.
get a lifer. That was fun.
Great.
They've been doing pretty good around here lately too, even though
The rusties.
they're very much in decline.
Mhm.
In North America, they're like, their numbers dropped 90% or something.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we ended up seeing a few of them, which
People
was
been
really
reporting
cool.
on our area, so
We
that's
saw-
good.
Cool.
Saw a few at McAlpine on Tuesday.
Mhm.
There
And I
was one
used
in Freedom Park last week.
Wow.
Good.
That's
I actually
great.
got that as a yard bird like a month and a half ago.
Nice.
Must have just jumped over from 4 Mile, lost his way a tiny bit. That's all.
Cool.
Okay, just a reminder, our next meeting is February 3rd, when Julie Mullis will talk with us about mushrooms. And we'll make a timely announcement about whether the meeting will be face-to-face at Tybola Senior Center or online with Zoom. So we hope to get back in person, but it just didn't seem right this week to
Yeah.
have a bunch of people in a room.
Yep. Not a good thing.
Thank you for that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right.
It was
Okay, I'm
nice
gonna
to see everyone.